Here we are, our final module, Module 7, the responsibility to endure. The theme of the book of Hebrews is go for it. Never go back. Make the decision to move forward in your Christian life, your Christian commitment, and you keep going. What's going to help you to endure? First of all is the model of Jesus Christ. It says, since we have this hall of faith we just looked at, and then since we have the great illustration in Hebrews 12, 1 and 2 of Jesus, who for the joy set before him endured the cross. What made him endure the cross? Because he didn't just only look at the cross. He didn't only look at Friday, he looked at Sunday morning. And because he kept his eyes on Sunday, he can handle Friday. So he wants us to do that as well. How Jesus looked at the cross by looking beyond it is how we are supposed to look at our circumstances, by looking beyond it. Because Jesus Christ saw that God was up to something bigger than what he was going through. So every day, when you're discouraged and when you want to give up, you say, God, you have a purpose and you have a plan, even in the pain. So I'm going to believe your purpose and your plan while I endure the pain. It's like surgery. It's going to hurt, and you know it's going to hurt, but when it gets fixed, you can look forward to feeling better. Keep your eye on where God's going, not merely where you are. But God knows we need some help sometime. That's where chapter 12 comes in with discipline. He says, I want you to go through my disciplining process so that it produces ongoing. In other words, I'm going to make your inconvenience through my discipline more painful than your rejection and your regression. I'm going to show you leaving me is not worth the trip. I'm not trying to be mean. It's like when I had to discipline my children or my dad had to discipline me. It hurt. It was painful, but it was meant to correct something. It was not meant to just inflict pain. It meant for me to become a better person having gone through the discipline process. So God sends his people to help them endure and help them not to go back through negative circumstances so they don't lose out on what God has to say to them, do to them, or do for them. Then he comes with the instruction. He says, I want you to go outside the camp in chapter 13. I want you to leave old religion behind. I want you to leave the old covenant behind, the old priesthood behind, the old way of thinking behind, and I want you to move on to this new focus, this new priest, this new covenant. I want you to go outside the camp. In other words, if you hang out with old religion, that is the old way of doing things that's not part of this new arrangement, you are going to be stuck in a time warp, and you're not going to experience the partaker, the sharer, the beneficiary in time and eternity. There are many Christians, saints, who are just existing in their Christian life. They're going through the motions. They're in that old religion. Yeah, they go to church and they say the Christianese, but there's no dynamic to their life. There's no joy. There's no victory. There's no power. There's no authority, because they're operating in an old regime. They're operating under the law and not under the power of grace. The law can tell you what's wrong, but only grace can make it right. And so what I want to challenge you to do is keep going. Don't give up. Don't quit. Don't throw in the towel. Because as bad as it is, the author of Hebrews says over and over again, Jesus is better. As bad as it feels, Jesus is better. As bad as it looks, Jesus is better. So when you read the book of Hebrews, even though parts of it are going to be difficult to interpret, not having the Old Testament background that most of the readers had, look for one thing over and over again. Endure, 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 endure. And when you do, you will discover that when the race is over and when the awards are given, it will have been worth the price paid to get there.